let's get into this Eubank Sr. thing. I put it right at the end, yeah, towards where he makes those comments.
If the rules are abided by, then we don't have to talk about rehydration clauses, which actually kills fighters and puts them in the position that Michael Watson is in. Barry, you know about that. You know why the fight was made at 11 stones 10 and not 12 stones. It was the first super middleweight championship fight of the world. It was the first super middleweight championship fight ever. It was the new weight. Why did he come in at 11:10? Why was I made to come in at 11 stones 10? I actually came in at 11:8. My responsibility. So I see my son. I see the mistakes that he's walking into. Only looking at the money. The money will get you.
That's what it is, you know, folks. This is nothing to do with the weight. Yeah. This is nothing to do with the antics. This is about the money. My man is bonning my man that his youth's about to come up differently again. Because this ain't about the weight, people. This is not about the weight. I get it. Trust me, people. I get it, you know, that people are saying, oh, he's worried for his son and all that. It's not that, people. This is nothing to do with none of that. This is about jealousy, and I hope these guys can fix this one day, man, because to a father who had a great career and a son who's been able to continue the family name and have somewhat of a great career also. Come on, man. It's sad to see them go out like this.
Killed. If you're not clever and if you're not noble, this will kill you, this vocation, what they call sport. It is sport, again, to the spectators. To you, the fighter, it is a way of life. And if you don't play it right, already, Conor, you don't have a career to enjoy. You'll look back and your children will look back at your greatest ever fight. And your greatest ever fight will be the one which was promoted bigger than any other fight. And nothing is going to get bigger than what you've done with this circus. And your children are going to be listening to you swear. How could you do that to them? How could you do that? I know you have, what, 2 children?
All right, so what he's talking about here is definitely, it's probably true to his time, but I think he's being unfair to Junior and Conor because they're in a different time now. And unfortunately, entertainment takes the stage first. That's it, Senior. You can't be upset about that, man. Like, it's about entertainment. Like, people want to be entertained, man. Like people don't want to appreciate the sweet science. Hit, don't get hit. You don't hear a man saying, oh, look at that beautiful jab. You don't hear that anymore. When I was growing up, man used to watch fights like, look at my face, people. Man used to watch fights like proper deep. I remember. But that don't happen now. Now it's more about the press conferences and all of that. And that's because the market became oversaturated and fighters had to stand out. Unless you're some Mexican geezer who's got a whole country behind him, or some dude who has a region behind him, you gotta sell yourself, man. You gotta sell yourself.
How could you do that to them? Because they're gonna listen to you and they say, well, if Dad does it, then I can do it. Right. Junior, you're smashing an egg against this guy's face. I taught you that. I didn't teach you that. Who taught you that?
Listen to this.
Teach you that?
So I knew I was gonna do that.
Who taught you that?
I know this brother's gonna cost me. This brother who keeps messaging saying, "Oh, you can skim it back, Mark." I don't know how to do it. I've tried.
Who taught you that? Did Karen teach you that?
That's the baby mother.
Who taught you that? That's disgraceful. I'm gonna stand in your corner. You must be mad. You must be mad. I would never be in your corner. You're a disgrace. You're smashing an.
People listen to this. People listen to the passion that my man's showing in him talking. He's wrong, man. He's wrong, folks. He's wrong. Imagine going at your son like this the week before a fight of this magnitude. Imagine unsettling your child before. I will never be in your corner. That would have felt like a knife in my man's stomach, you know, or in his back, should I say. Because remember, Junior has been on TV and all of that saying, I want to reach out to my dad. I love my dad. I want to reach out. I want him in my corner. I need to make him know. Hear what he said. I want to know what I need to do to make that happen. Meaning, does he need to be paid? Look at Nigel Benn. Look at the difference with Nigel Benn. It's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad that it's got to this, but people, this family are going through something and they need some sort of mediation to get them back together. But you see, even the mom, people, for the most part in our world, the mom would have stepped into this. The mom would have stepped. If this was me and my pops, let's say this was me and my dad, my mom would have stepped in and been like, yo, nah, this ain't happening publicly, you know. You man are gonna have to deal with this behind the scene. This ain't, but there's not that there. That's why we're seeing this. Saint, no, sorry, how far did I go? Zulia, yeah, facts, disgrace. Wow, his own son, yeah, facts, it's a disgrace. Saint, Junior has done very well. Listen, all this aside, look at the venom for his son. Facts, some elders are haters. When the torch gets passed, they don't know how to let go. You see why I rate this chat? You see why I rate this chat? It's all facts. It's all facts. People, there are elders that are haters. There are elders that literally are, and this is what this is, and it's just unfortunate, man. So I think I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say that it's mental illness. You know, I think it's mental illness because remember, folks, mental illness doesn't always look the way we believe it will look, with like a madman and mad hair and this that. Like mental illness can look normal as well. He's hurting, man. He's hurting. So I mean, I don't want to even ever know what that feels like to lose a son, because people, your son, you see when you got your son, yeah, and he's first born, and you go through the stages of life, he starts to walk, he starts to talk, he learns to ride a bike, and you know, the first day at school, all of that. You can't put it into words, man, what it means as a father. So when he actually gets to this age of being a man, even with me, big old me, I got grays in my beard. Right now, I got a tap leaking at the phone, my dad. Yo, how can I do this? How can I fix this? That's what it is. He shouldn't be doing this online. It shouldn't be being done online. You can't go and check him and say whatever you want to say. Crazy, man. I think Senior feels insignificant and it's painful. Facts ain't hard to watch. Facts ain't Western, because Rio recognizes Rio. Facts Western, we got Aisha. Could be grief. He needs a break from the spotlight. Also, these platforms should be ashamed of themselves for exploiting him like that. Facts. Because there was one guy, people, that I was watching, and he was actually smirking when my mum was talking. Like, he was actually smirking, but I think you can book him still. You can get him on your pod if you give him $5. If you pay my man $5, it'll come on your thing. So all them shows you see him going on, they pay him in it, but they'll exploit. So they're looking for him to say something mad or whatever. Not seconds out. Not these, man. You know those like sit down ones. These guys are official still. Seconds out and man's like that. But you know the guys where you where they have like podcasts and they sit down. There's one that he was on, and this was like 2 years ago, and he went viral on TikTok, and I think he started growling and all of that, and the brother was laughing, man. I got that video bare times to where, matter of fact, I'll play it now. Chris Eubank Snr lost a son, fam. He lost a son. He's still doing interviews and stuff, and us as the public can see that he needs help. We can see that. We can see he needs help.
Understandably, man.
So this is why I'm saying, yeah, imagine that man is still going on podcasts. There was one podcast, you know, that was even laughing at my man and put that content out. A man's gone on blood. A man's going through a public breakdown. Where's your wife?
Priorities.
A man said, where's this brother's wife, man? Chris Eubank Snr lost. You see what I'm saying to his people? I dropped that back then because I thought, yo, just with our platform, let's just say that. And it went viral, 512,000 views on TikTok. Bare comments, bag of comments, all agreeing. Bare indigenous, all agreeing. Because the man was going crazy. Just on podcasts going, absolutely crazy. I'm like, where's your wife, fam? You listen, man, listen. When you're picking your woman, you know, you're not always gonna be young. You're not always gonna be good. There's gonna be difficult patches you go through. And if you ain't got a wife, you gotta do it for her too. If you ain't got a wife that can say, John, or whatever your name is, lift your head up and gives you a hug. If you ain't got that, bro, I feel sorry for you, man. Because that's why mans are crashing out. And that shows you that fame, money, all of that means nothing. Because when it really matters, who's there for you people? Because the one thing's for sure, we're all gonna dead. That's a fact. But when it happens and we're dealing with the grief of life, do you have that person who can call you and say, family, are you good? Is everything okay? Do you need to talk? I can come and sit with you. Do you have that person? If the answer is no, people, you gotta do better, man. This is why you gotta be very selective, because people, life ain't always gonna be a bed of roses. These man went through something, man. So, okay. Western, yeah, facts, Noble's gonna be screwing boss, but it's technology, man.
Someone's face, and then you're saying you're trying to
And it's
justify it.
Easter
There's
too,
no
let's go in.
justification for that. There's nothing noble about that. Seconds out. You're welcome.